In 1692, a group of young girls began having fits in a small village in Massachusetts. These episodes were marked by contortions, screams, and even strange and disturbing outbursts. As time went on, the number of afflicted girls grew until over 200 people had joined their ranks. Officials in the colony investigated the source of these attacks and came to the conclusion that the source was a group of witches that had bewitched these poor girls. What followed was one of the darkest periods in American history, a time when accusations flew and innocent lives were taken. This is the story of the Salem Witch Trials. Salem Village, now known as Danvers, was a small Puritan community nestled in the woods of colonial New England. For years, this town had been a beacon of piety and virtue, but under the surface, all was not well. The year was 1692, and a group of young girls had been acting strangely. Their fits, which sometimes lasted for hours, baffled their families and worried the town's leaders. When they weren't convulsing, screaming, or thrashing about, they claimed that they were being tormented by invisible forces beyond their control. On January of that year, Reverend Samuel Parris, a strict and unbending Puritan minister, noticed that his daughter and niece were engaging in strange behavior. Their fits became more frequent and intense, alarming the close-knit community. Unable to comprehend what was happening, fear began to take hold in Salem Village. Whispers spread like wildfire through the tight-knit community, weaving tales of witchcraft and satanic influence. With each passing day, the tension in the village grew thicker, choking the once harmonious community. As the weeks passed, the afflictions of the young girls took a darker turn. The usually lively girls were in agony, their bodies twisting in ways that looked really unnatural. Their eyes rolled wildly in their sockets, and they let out ear-piercing screams that echoed through the quiet village, leaving an eerie silence in their wake. To understand what was happening in Salem Village, it's important to look at the state of colonial New England at the time. The Puritans who settled in this region were deeply religious individuals who believed that life on earth was a constant battle between good and evil. They saw the world around them as inherently dangerous and were always on the lookout for signs of the devil's presence. Superstitions and fears of witchcraft ran rampant through their communities. Fear. Fear is a powerful emotion that can grip a community and distort their perception of reality. In Salem Village, fear of witches and the devil took root and grew, twisting the townspeople's understanding of the events unfolding before them. This fear led to suspicion, which created a climate of mistrust among neighbors and family members. It poisoned relationships and fueled the flames of accusation. Fear turned into hysteria as it spread like wildfire through the village, consuming rational thought and replacing it with unfounded beliefs and wild speculation. People began to see witches everywhere, even in their own reflections. In the midst of this growing hysteria, a few brave souls dared to speak up. Tituba, a young Native American woman enslaved by Reverend Parris, was one of the first to face their wrath. Her connection to the supernatural, a result of her tribe's beliefs, made her an easy target for the superstitious townspeople. Sarah Good, a poor, lonely woman who had long been an outcast of the community, also found herself accused. Her reclusive nature and difficult past painted a target on her back, making her the perfect scapegoat for the village's mounting fears. Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman who had always been a bit of a nuisance to her neighbors, became another victim of the spreading hysteria. Her contentious nature and tendency to argue with her community only served to solidify the accusations against her. These three women became the first casualties of the Salem Witch Trials. With these initial accusations, the stage was set for a series of events that would shock the very foundations of the Puritan community. As the accusations grew in intensity, it became clear that the trials would be a pivotal moment in Salem Village. The accused faced a legal system stacked against them, with little hope for a fair trial. The burden of proof lay solely on the accused to prove their innocence, a nearly impossible task in a community consumed by fear and prejudice. During the trials, the afflicted girls played a crucial role in swaying the jury's decision. Their dramatic fits and vivid descriptions of the torment they endured at the hands of the accused were seen as compelling evidence of guilt. Spectral evidence, which relied on the testimony of the afflicted girls rather than physical proof, was allowed in court, further skewing the trials in favor of the accusers. The accused were subjected to intense scrutiny and public humiliation. Their words and actions were dissected, and any admission or confession, regardless of its true nature, was taken as a sign of guilt. The pressure to confess and appease the community was immense, leading some to false confessions in order to escape the torment. The trials themselves were a spectacle that drew crowds from neighboring towns, eager to witness the drama and intrigue unfolding in Salem Village. The event became a source of morbid fascination and entertainment, rather than a solemn pursuit of justice. As the trials progressed, the hysteria reached a fever pitch in Salem Village. The entire community was engulfed in a maelstrom of fear and paranoia, where accusations flew freely and reputations were shattered in an instant. Entire families were torn apart as accusations spread like wildfire. The bonds of community and trust were broken, replaced by suspicion and mistrust. Neighbors turned on neighbors, friends accused friends, and the fabric of society began to unravel. The accusations knew no bounds. People from all walks of life found themselves ensnared in the web of deceit and suspicion, regardless of their social status or standing in the community. Accusations became a means of personal gain, with some using them to settle old scores or advance their own interests. The truth was lost in the chaos as the hysteria consumed Salem Village. As the trials continued, so did the tragic loss of life in Salem Village. The accused, unable to withstand the pressure and persecution, began to fall victim to the turmoil. Some took their own lives to escape the torment, while others perished due to the inhumane treatment they endured. The executions served as a grim reminder of the stakes involved and the merciless nature of the trials. As the body count rose, the community's grip on reality continued to slip, leading them further into the abyss of hysteria. The execution of the accused in Salem Village was a somber and terrifying spectacle. The condemned were marched through the streets to the gallows, their heads held high despite the weight of the charges against them. The sight of the noose waiting at the end of their journey served as a stark reminder of their fate. As the trials reached their climax, the sense of dread and despair in Salem Village intensified. The executions of prominent figures within the community sent shockwaves throughout the town, shattering any remaining illusions of mercy or fairness. The event left an indelible mark on the townspeople, forcing them to confront the harsh reality of their actions. In the aftermath of the executions, fear and regret began to take hold in Salem Village. The townspeople were left to grapple with the consequences of their actions and the heavy toll it had taken on their community. The executions served as a turning point, marking the beginning of the end for the Salem Witch Trials. But amidst this darkness, a glimmer of hope emerged. As the trials began to lose steam, a few courageous individuals stood up to question the validity of the accusations and the fairness of the trials. These voices of reason, though initially silenced, eventually gained traction, leading to a gradual shift in public opinion. The seeds of doubt were planted, and slowly but surely the townspeople began to see the error of their ways. As the tide began to turn against the witch trials, the community of Salem Village started to fracture. Friendships and alliances were tested as people began to question the validity of the accusations that had gripped the town. The fabric of society unraveled, and the once tight-knit community was torn apart by suspicion and discord. This growing division within the community signaled the decline of the Salem Witch Trials and the beginning of the long road to recovery. In the end, the Salem Witch Trials came to an abrupt halt, leaving the town forever changed by the ordeal. The trials were eventually declared a travesty of justice, and those who had been accused and convicted were exonerated. However, the scars left by the trials ran deep, serving as a reminder of the dangers of mass hysteria and religious extremism. Salem Village never truly recovered from the trials. The town's economy suffered, its reputation was tarnished, and the psychological wounds of the community ran deep. But from the ashes of this dark chapter in history, a new sense of unity and purpose emerged. The townspeople began to rebuild their lives, determined to honor the memory of those who had been lost to the trials. And so the tale of the Salem Witch Trials serves as a haunting reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the fragility of justice. It's a story that continues to captivate and terrify us, urging us to remain vigilant against the dangers of unchecked fear and the abuse of power.